Hello everybody, this is Tina with Tiaz's Treasures, and today I have for you the April 2025 Simon Says kit. And let's see what we have. We have a little free gift, which is 49th and Market, little bitty wishing bubbles and baubles. Cute. I'm sure those are supposed to be flowers, but they look like little eggs to me. I don't know, just me. I went ahead and I bought the dies for this kit. Butterfly Blossoms is the stamp. That might be the name of the kit too. I don't know. We get a little bitty thing of texture paste, sparkle, 1 fluid ounce. I have a bigger jar of this, so if I do use this on our cards, I'll be using the bigger jar. But these are cute little jars, aren't they? Cute. So let's take a look and see what is in the kit this month. I saw it when it first came out on YouTube. I have not looked since then. I don't remember. Oh yeah, washi. We get lots of washi tape. That's right. So, 6 little rolls, I believe. This is Simple Stories, $5 code. Could always use that. A grocery bag envelope. Let me see. What's the name of this kit? This kit is Butterfly Blossoms. And, let's see. I'm trying to see who those washi tape is from. 6 Simple Stories washi tape. Yes. So that is washi tape. We also get a little bitty jar of Collage medium. I have a big jar, and I have this as well. I have a couple of these, so I'll be holding on to this for later. And candy, I think that rolled out of my kit. Tropical fruit punch. We have some collage papers by Tim Holtz. Cool. I think we get 2 of each one of these. Florals, mostly florals. I might have to use this. We'll have to see. I keep saying, well, I might have to use that, and I might have to use that. Well, I don't know. I do remember when I saw this beautiful pattern paper on the unveiling, I thought to myself, I said, pretty butterflies. Ooh, that's nice too. I said that might be able to fussy cut some of these and make a nice card. I think the one I was thinking about was this one here. I said that'd be cool for fussy cutting. And then, would you believe it? I saw, I think, Kathy Zilski and was it Amy from Prairie Paper, something like that. I think they fussy cut it. I'm like, well, I can't fussy cut and do a card now unless I do something totally different. So just one of those things I thought was weird. That's very nice tone on tone. Little cut aparts. I don't usually use this size cut aparts, occasionally, but not really often. What about you? That's really pretty. Oh, these yellows are just gorgeous. Ah, that's so pretty. It's got like our florals, and it's got like already a little lettering in the back. I mean, if you are a lazy crafter, which I can be on occasion, you can just cut this, put a sentiment on it, booyah, you're done. But I feel like that would almost be cheating. I know this comes with this great stencil set that coordinates with, I know all the florals. I'm not sure if it does the butterflies. Well, there's B2, which is a butterfly. And B3, which is that butterfly. B1, which is, where's B1? There. So it does a lot of the butterflies. I'd have to look, pull it open and see what it does, but I'm not pulling it open right now. Love this stamp set though. I just love these florals. These would be great on tags and on cards. Butterfly blossoms. Then we get this really nice piece of honey cardstock, which is a honey lemon, well, I wouldn't say, it's a honey yellow, not a lemon yellow, but a honey yellow. And a piece of Nina 110-pound cardstock. So let me stew on it for a little bit, and I will come back, and I say we, but I mean me, we will make some cards. I don't know how many, anywhere between 3 and 3 probably. So I will see you in a little bit. Okay, to start out with, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp 3 of the florals and 2 of the butterflies with some Memento, I think it's Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm going to go ahead and use that because I'm going to use a couple of the ink colors from Simon Says Stamp to stencil in our colors. And I figure you don't need to watch me doing all the stamping because I have faith that you all know how to stamp probably better than I do. Anyhow, you need to stamp once or twice to get a good image. Most of these stamped really well with just one try. They did a really great job of stamping out, and I didn't have to stamp them multiple times like I might have on some other stamp sets that I have. Anyhow, I'm going to get these all stamped, and I'm going to pull them out. They're on Nina 110-pound cardstock. I've got like 3 different panels that I stamped just to make it easier to stencil them. And I'm going to stencil 2 of the florals using the colors Butter and Zest with the Simon's Positively Saturated ink. And I'm going to use the same colors on the butterfly. And then I'm going to do the last floral in, I think is it Cheeky and Sweets? Don't quote me on that. I'll have to see when it gets to that point. I'm doing this voiceover a day after I put these cards together. And for all the greenery, I use Perfection. And I think that these just turned out really nice. I just love the colors. And I do put the zest a little bit more towards the center of the flowers, just to give it a little bit darker center. I'm not really sure that you can even see the zest once the colors dry all the way and dry back. It did make me feel like I was making them a little bit more like bougie though than they would be normally with just one shade. And I always think it looks better with the 2 shades, whether or not it's extremely noticeable or just a little noticeable. I know it's there, so I feel better about it. Um, I don't know if anybody else really cares, but I do like the way the two-tone looks when you do see it, so why not? It's only another, tiny little step when you're making your cards. Now I'm just drying off my tiny little blending brush here. I've got some tiny ones that I bought. I think these were Amazon, and I couldn't remember if I used oxide on them, so I made sure to clean it real good so I don't contaminate my ink pads. You can use ink to oxide, but you don't want to use oxide to ink. That's the way it was explained to me anyway, because then the pigment can get on your dye ink pads and kind of mess them up. So yeah, I'm clean my stencil, and I just kind of move it over to the butterfly and purposely use the same colors. I want everything to coordinate. I don't want anything to kind of clash. Not that your yellows would clash, but I like just making everything matchy-matchy in this case. You don't have to, though. You could use any color that you wanted. I mean, I could have done the butterfly um, um, in even greens or blues. It really doesn't make a difference. But I was going for like all yellow cards with these. And here I've got to mask off my greenery because it's just a little bit too close to the florals in this case. And I didn't want to end up putting green ink on my florals and then when I went in with the yellow making blue. That's not where I was going with these cards. So get everything inked up. I think out of all the florals, this particular one here had the most amount of leaves on it. And I mean, I could have even done a light gray for these because it does almost look like those are dandelion seeds as opposed to flowers. But I was on a theme and I was just going to stick with yellow. Again, I've got my little darker centers. I originally was thinking of doing the centers with a latte ink, but I realized even I didn't have little blending brushes small enough to just do the centers without getting into the florals themselves. So we're going to ink up our butterfly now. I ended up having to redo this butterfly because when I die cut it, even though I had the die taped down, it shifted and it cut my butterfly in half. So I just quickly stamped out another butterfly, and instead of using the stencil, I just colored the butterfly with whatever ink was on my brush, which was a pale yellow, and that turned out fine. You couldn't even really tell that it wasn't stenciled. Now this one here, I didn't bother masking. I thought I could just be really careful and try to put just a slight amount of ink on those greens. And then I'm going to come in with my pink inks here. And the colors I used, one of them I believe was Sweets, and the other color was Bubblegum, not Cheeky. And so I just went ahead and I put the Sweets at the base of the longer floral, and I colored a couple of my florals with just Sweets. And then I went in with the Bubblegum with some of the other florals as well. Well, you'll see some of the other florals. That's really giving you a really good description there, isn't it? The ones that look more like flowers, I used the bubble gum on, and the ones that looked more like lavender, I guess, I used the Sweets on. And the big one, I used a combination of bubble gum and Sweets. And I really do like these pink colors on this. Now I did this one pink because I wanted to use some washi tape with this floral, and I was going to use the pink washi, which is why we've got yellow and to match the pattern paper, and pink to match the one washi that I've got up there to the upper right. And now I am taking the sparkle paste and I am putting it over one of the florals. I had to come back and do this because I forgot about it, and which is why I didn't do it right away. I'm like, oh yeah, I was going to use that sparkle paste. So I just put a post-it note over the greens and just sparkled up all of our florals on this. And then I put it aside to dry. And it doesn't take that long, but I just let it dry overnight because I got all of these cards colored and cut and ready to go. And then the next day I came in and I put them together. So all in all, it took me about 3 days with this video. 1 day to do the coloring, 1 day to put them together, and then another day to do the editing and the voiceover. So the first thing we're going to do is our tag. We're going to start on our tag, and I'm taking some picked raspberry distress ink and some flamingo kitsch flamingo, and I'm just putting that on my craft sheet, and I'm going to spray a little bit of water on that. We're going to do a little bit of ink smushing, and so I'm just going to smush the two different colors. You don't really end up seeing the kitsch flamingo too much, but that's fine. I know it's there. And now I just kind of dry off this tag in between some of the smushing. I want it to layer, not to blend. And dry on dry, blends if you get wet on wet, or dry on dry layers, wet on wet blends. So anyhow, that was my thing. Then I took a little bit of peeled paint and I kind of just smushed that as well. I just wanted a tiny bit of green on the tag. And I moved that out of the way and dried it. And I'm going to bring in some opaque texture paste, this is where I realized I still kind of need that little, that's, what do you call it, the little sheet that I use to do my ink smushing on. And I took a little bit of the opaque paste and a little bit more of the picked raspberry, and I just smushed some out on my pad. I'm going to take just a little bit of the opaque paste and I'm going to blend it up to get a pink color. And that's what I'm going to use on my tag. I'm going to use one of my stencils, which in retrospect I probably should have taken off of the ring so I could have washed it in the sink. I ended up wiping it down with a baby wipe and it was fine. But I wanted to use the dots and the plaid on that stencil. So it worked out perfectly, and I'm just putting my washi tape on the side of this stencil now because I don't want any sort of paste where my washi tape is. So I've got that on the side, and I'm just going to trim it down to fit the tag. And now we're going to put a few dots on the upper right hand corner of my stencil using the texture paste. And I'm going to come down to the lower left corner next to the washi, and I'm going to put on a little bit of the plaid using more of the texture paste and a few more dots in the lower right corner as well. Get that, and then we're going to come carefully over here and just put down some dots. And I'm going to scrape the rest of this and just put it in the garbage can because I'm not going to save it. If I knew what I was going to do with it, fine, but I didn't. So I wipe off both sides of my stencil and it's fine. It doesn't need to go in the sink. And I'm going to put this tag to the side now to dry. We'll get back to it at the end, which is by the time I get to the end, it's dry and everything is good. So for this first card we're going to make, though, I've got the florals that look like a little dandelion, and I'm going to just put some glue on the back of my honey cardstock that's cut to 4 and 5 1/4. And I'm going to write a little love note to you in glue, which is like, hello, love you. And, I'm asking that you give this a thumbs up if you liked this video. So anyhow, I'm trying to decide. I originally was going to go with the side that had all the butterflies on them, and I thought, well, the one with just the bigger butterflies looked really good, but I decided to stick with my initial thought and use the side with all the little butterflies going in different directions. And I'm just going to glue down my florals and my butterfly. We're going to get everything glued down flat. And as you can see off to the right there, I went ahead and I heat embossed some sentiments on black cardstock using white embossing powder. And the sentiment I'm going to use with this card is just with sympathy. I want a real simple card here. I normally don't make a lot of sympathy cards, but it seems like that's the one thing I'm always having to make at the last minute. And it would be nice if I never had to use another sympathy card, but I know that's just not realistic. So I went ahead and used the sentiment here, and I'm going to use a couple of the enamel dots. I was deciding whether I wanted to use an older pack I had or this pack that came with this kit, and so I decided to use the free gift here, and I'm using some of the brown enamel dots. I've got 2 plain enamel dots I put on here and 2 with little bitty polka dots, because we only got like 2 of each. And that's going to be it for this card. After I decide where to put my dots, that is. And I like the way this turned out. So moving on, we are doing card number 2 now. This one, we're using the floral that we have the sparkle paste on. I'm going to glue that flat down on this pattern paper that I cut again to 4 by 5 1/4. Either side would have looked nice, though. I think this plaid would have made a nice background as well. But this pattern paper was so pretty, so why not let it help us out, make our cards just look a little bit more flattering. And I'm going to use the second butterfly right here after I glue down my floral. And I think the sparkle paste just really adds something. I probably should have put it on all the butterflies too. I think that would have been really pretty. But then I would have had to go back and redo all the stenciling instead of just this one floral. I get ahead of myself sometimes when I'm making, and then I have to go back and redo things that I had meant to do from the very beginning. And now for this one, I'm just putting the glue down the center so I can kind of prop my butterfly wings up a little bit once it dries. They can look like they've got a little bit of extra dimension. I could have used foam tape and done the same thing. And now I'm just going to put the sentiment Missing You, and I'm going to use a couple yellow dots and a yellow heart. I'll put the little yellow heart under Missing You, and the couple yellow enamel dots right by my florals. I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone and put the enamel dots in places I normally don't put them. If you watch me at all, you know a lot of times I put 2 in the upper right corner and then 1 in the lower left corner, and that's kind of boring. But I didn't do that for any of them. I did put 1 in the right corner on my last card, but that was it. And so now this is just card number 2. Now for our next card, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to do a tag. This is the second tag. So we've got 2 tags, 3 cards I do. And I'm putting down some collage medium. I'm just going to paint it all over the front of this tag. And I'm going to put a piece of the tissue paper, the Tim Holtz tissue paper or collage paper, on the side of the tag. It doesn't go all the way to the top, but that's okay because we're going to eventually put some ink up there and you're not going to really notice it that much. I'm just going to trim off the excess, and I've got the piece of pattern paper that I did end up fussy cutting. I didn't make a card out of it, but I fussy cut it because I just thought it would look really good on a tag too. So I'm going to put it over the collage paper on the left hand side of the tag. I need to get everything cleaned up though. I don't want the glue drying on my mat. And I probably should have glued the pattern paper first, but I just decide to keep the pattern paper in my hand and not put it down. That way I'm not getting glue on my glass mat, which is fine. This collage medium works really well. I'm almost out of this jar. I'm going to have to crack open another one of my glues. We're going to put this down and I'm going to cut off the end once I get it down so it is flush with the tag. I'm going to cut that corner. Now you could, if you want, go over this entire tag with some collage medium, but I didn't want that surface. I wanted it to stay kind of a flatter surface like you get with the tissue paper without the collage medium, because I'm going to watercolor the collage medium. I'm going to use some of the Tim Holtz watercolor pencils, and I'm just going to punch my hole back in there at the top of the tag, and I'm going to use some mustard yellow on our floral. And it's not real vibrant in your face. It dries back a bit. I mean, it's really never that in your face. It's just kind of subtle. But I think it looks pretty good on the tag. And then we're going to mute it even more when I use a little bit of vintage photo on this tag. And now I'm coming in here. I think I start with peeled paint, but you could hardly see that at all. And so I'm going to switch to mowed lawn afterwards. I'm going to switch over and do all the greenery in mowed lawn. And I like these watercolor pencils. You'll find when I use the watercolor pencils, most of the time, I just take the color right off the tint. You could draw on the card itself. I find that works best on watercolor paper. I'm not always sure of the result I'm going to get when I use regular cardstock, so I'm a little bit careful with that, and I figure in order to be safe rather than sorry, I'll just take the color right off the watercolor pencil itself. Then I don't have to worry about it moving or not moving. And now this card is just a little bit too vanilla looking, so after I get it dry, I'm going to take some vintage photo and I'm going to go all around the edge of the card. And I'm also going to pounce a little bit of color in between, well, pretty much in the middle of the card where you see it's pretty still manila looking. I want that to look a little bit more like the edges, so I'm just pouncing color here. I don't want it too dark. I just want to darken it up a little bit. And I'm going to take some jute I've got, and I'm going to use that. I'm just wetting it here so it straightens out a bit. It's got a crease in it, and I just kind of pull on it and wet it a little bit to get the crease out. And I'm going to just loop it through. I'm not going to knot this in any other way. And I think this tag, it might be able to use a sentiment or something else, but I'm not sure at this point what else I want to do to it, so I just quit while I'm ahead. I can always add things, but once I add something and don't like it, it's too late. So now we are moving on to card number 3. Now for this card, after thinking about the fact that I don't use the cut aparts with the pattern paper, I decided to go ahead and cut them apart using a stamp die, a small little postage size stamp die. And I cut out 5 of them, and we're going to go ahead and I'm going to use them on this card. And I thought instead of just having them flat, I'm going to pop them all up with some foam tape. And we're going to do them in a 5 pattern like you see on dice. So we're going to have 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, and 1 of the little postage stamps in the center. And it's the one that it has a sentiment that says, "Think happy thoughts." So, you know, we didn't have to come up with any other sentiments. We've got our sentiment already. You could always add some enamel dots in here or any number of things, but I'm just going to put my 5 little stamps on here once I get them figured out where I'm going to place them. And we're going to call this card good. I've got it on a piece of the honey cardstock. I went ahead and made a side folding card base out of that. And I just love Simon Says cardstock. So our texture paste is dry and we can finally finish this tag that we started on and end the video doing that. So again, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps the algorithm, especially since I don't drop a whole lot of videos. And if you're not a subscriber, I'd love to have you. If you are a subscriber, thank you for putting up with me. And either way, thank you for being here and watching to the end. And we're just going to put a happy birthday sentiment on this tag because I think this would look really good on a gift. My daughter's got an April 1st birthday, and I just might tie off her gift bag with this tag. I'm using a couple pieces, well, a single ribbon that I cut in half here, and I'm just going to put it through, and then I'm going to tie a little bow on it, and that's going to be it for this tag. I like the way this turned out. I love that ink smushing. So here are my 5 tags, my 3 cards and my 2 tags. And this card kit just makes the, nicest cards and so easy. You don't have to do any coloring unless you want to. We've got the stencil. It just, so much you can do with this kit. So anyhow, that's everything. And that's it for now. So bye-bye, everyone.